We made it? Are we in?
I think we're in.
All right, you don't have to hold it at an angle, Neil. There we go. As you can hear, I think Neil was going to introduce this, but as you're probably unaware, unless you're watching, obviously, on the YouTubes, we're currently doing a walking podcast. How do you feel it's going so far, Neil?
I think it's okay. There might be a bit of background noise with cars going past, but yeah,
I've got
something different.
I've got my audio recorder hooked up to my belt, and we're both sort of using a 360 camera, and Neil's just shoving it around like a tourist. But yes, we are on episode number 35 of the Developing Dads podcast. It's, again, I shouldn't really be amazed at the fact that we've made it to 35 episodes, but we're getting there. We're almost like approaching a whole year of podcasts, Neil. One a week for a whole year.
I know.
That feels pretty good. We've only got 17 more weeks to hit that whole year thing. But yes, today's episode is going to be about first year as a dad. Basically off the back of the fact that Neil is down in London. He's down here for my daughter's first birthday. He's down with his daughter Isla. So we thought that might be a off the cuff type of podcast that we could cover. And then I thought, well, why don't we go for a walk? Give it a try, see what it comes out like. Because I tend to find, I don't know about you, but during the pandemic, I found I'd go for a walk with like friends.
Yeah.
Did you do that?
Yeah, definitely. And have a bit more in-depth conversations and get your hour exercise a day.
And I find the conversations much better. How did you find them?
Yeah, so like through lockdown, I joined created a walking group where we climbed some Monroes and stuff. And out there's no phone signal. You're kind of just in your thoughts with people you don't really know, and yeah, you get so much more to talk about. It's 5-6 hours of just walking. So
when you say you went for a walk with people you didn't know,
yeah,
you literally had no idea who they were, and you just started talking about stuff.
Yeah, exactly, and like all different backgrounds. Like some were ex-drug addicts, some were ex kind of people in jail, and just like some crazy stories. And
I did not know about this. So you were just going on rogue walks with ex-druggies and ex-criminals.
So it was a guy. I kind of founded it with a chap called Aaron. He's pastor of the church. A fellow dad with 5 kids, and he kind of had the idea of setting up a walking group. And with his kind of role as pastor of the church, he's obviously got a lot of contacts, a lot of people he wants to try and get on the right path of life. So we took out people that had just different backgrounds, but some were successful oil people, others were the other extreme of heroin addicts. And climbing mountains with him. So yeah, it was a really, really cool thing. We just did about 10 Monroes with a group throughout COVID.
Oh, I've got sandals on. I've made a terrible error. Anyway, yeah. So in COVID you did that, and how long did that last for?
Oh, yeah, probably about 18 months. Just through COVID, we kind of felt like it died down a little bit when people's lives came back to normal, and they had other stuff to do and stuff like that. But yeah, it was good.
Yeah, fair. Well, I really enjoyed it when I had like friends, and I didn't see them, but we needed to do the exercise thing, so we couldn't hang out inside. And I found going for a walk and having a conversation was so much better than like sat in a pub drinking and having a conversation. Yeah,
because I mean, I don't know, you got your distraction of the phone, the TV screen maybe in the pub. Yeah, it's good.
It was. I thoroughly enjoyed it. So I did suggest that we go for a walk and try not to get run over by cars because we have to walk in the road at the moment. But I thought, look, why don't we do a podcast where we actually go for a walk and have a conversation? It just might be a little bit different. And here we are.
Yeah, so without further ado, let's kick off. How's your week been? What's some highlights, some lowlights?
How's my week been? So it's a Sunday today? It's a Sunday.
It is, yeah.
It is a Sunday. Well, the absolute highlight obviously was Olivia's first birthday. She isn't one yet, she's one next week. But we had 30 people round and various friends groups as well, which I find kind of interesting. Because you're trying to, you know them, but they don't know you. So you're trying to like, hey, this is Paul meet Harry, Harry meet Paul, trying to get them to have a nice conversation, which is good, because you tend to hang around with people that are similar to yourself. So it's not like you're going to have like people way off the Richter scale in terms of the type of people that you're going to be having at the party. But it was really like wholesome, super wholesome, because it's just, there's not many times now, certainly as I felt like I've got older, that people come together to talk about things and just celebrate something and whatever else. It's a number of times a year maybe. So that felt very good. That was definitely a massive highlight. Apart from that, I've kind of just been... I've done a little bit of work. I've been editing a wedding, so that's kind of an interesting task, because part of the editing thing is like editing speeches and like a ceremony, which it's all right, but it's very basic editing. Like, it's just like match the clips and put it together and try and cut out when Uncle gets in the way because he's taking his picture and he's ruined your video. So that's been good. Well, it's been all right. I attempted to go to the gym. I think I went once. So I found a gym to go to, which is nice, but trying to get the time or the motivation to go and do it. So my fitness endeavours are still somewhat struggling. Not amazing, but could be better. And then you arrived. Very
Surprise.
surprisingly, yes. Neil basically just turned up out of the blue. Laura was like, "Hey, can you go pick up Jack, who's Laura's brother? Can you go and pick him up and, get him from the train station?" I was like, "Yeah, sure, okay, I'll do that." I rock up and there's Neil and Isla just getting off the train.
Yeah, so we got the train down from Edinburgh.
Yeah, because I don't know. There was like a bit of a kerfuffle trying to get Neil to come down to London for various like flight issues and changes, and then our house is still getting built, so we couldn't have any space to stay, and it was all just a bit of a mess. But I think I said to Neil, look, because we had this discussion with Laura, and I don't know if you've ever had this discussion, or you will have this discussion with Rebecca, but it was like a brand new house, and nobody had lived in it yet. And we were like, do we want 2 4-year-olds and a 7-year-old running around this lovely house of ours that we've just had done and never actually lived in? But then I said it trumped it because I wanted I'd much prefer my brother and my niece to come to my daughter's first birthday. But then it was too late, and then flights and whatever else. So it was a wonderful surprise to have you and Isla sort of arrive and to get to enjoy
Yeah, it was a great day.
Enjoy the day. Yeah, great fun. And that feels very... That's our next stage of life, I feel like, is this whole like families and whatever else. Are you struggling to hold this up, Neil?
Yeah. No, I'm all right.
You got a sore hand. Oh, yeah, there you go. Like I said before, if you are watching, we've got YouTube with a 360 camera right now filming both of us.
Going through a very nice estate.
This is a very nice estate, actually. How much do you think this house is worth, Neil?
Oh.
Have a punt.
1.5.
Oh yeah.
Million.
Oh, a million, yeah. Definitely £1 million. Yeah, it's very quiet, it's very private, it's very nice. Big gates. I mean, there's a house here called Oakcroft. How about that? Double gated, look. You basically got a roundabout in your house.
Yeah.
Is that dreams? Is that what you'd like to have?
Maybe.
What is your dream house?
I think it's always been 2. So one in like a town or city with close to amenities, and then the one in the middle of nowhere, like Isle of Skye or Highlands or something like that.
Is it a particular size?
Yeah, big-ish. I guess enough for the kids and the grandkids.
Okay, does it have a nice garden?
Yeah, big garden. Maybe a pond.
Oh, a pond.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Like close to an airport or like a train station or...
Okay, very good. And anyway, enough about me and the house prices of the things that we're walking past, if you want to have a look at them. How's your week been? Has it been...
Yeah.
You've got another rental car, I believe?
I do, so... The rental saga still continues. Our car's still in the garage, and it's now getting looked at by Citroën France, which is just mad. I mean, it's been 6 weeks since we've had our car. And if this is the first episode you're listening to, Quick Fit basically did some damage to it, and they don't know how to fix it. So going back and forward, we've been arguing with the rental, or what rental car we've got, and we finally got a new one, a Volvo XC60, which seems very nice. But the amount of money they're spending on it is just astronomical. So I'm glad they put their hand up and said they broke our car, because if they hadn't, then that would have been a different story. So yeah, how's my week been? It's been a bit of a, I don't know, full of highs and lows. Just the whole kind of stress with the car is a bit annoying because I'm off next week and we haven't been able to go anywhere as a family together. We could have driven down here, but we didn't have the car. There's loads of stuff. And Ben's finger, update on that. Ben got his finger chopped off and he had his hospital appointment on Tuesday. I think they're happy with the repair, but they've still got like a big cast on for the next week. So yeah, just life stuff. And now I'm down here, which is quite nice. It's like a bit of a distraction from the reality back home. Nice to be down with my daughter. We're away to go to Reigate for the day after this podcast. birthday was awesome yesterday. Seeing people, and I've been to a few of Gordon's parties, barbecues, that kind of thing. Wedding, obviously. It's nice just to see people that I haven't seen in a few years' time. So, yeah, feeling good now.
That's it. That's your week.
That's my week.
Oh, well, it sounds a bit admin-y.
Yeah, and I don't know. There's for a few weeks now, I haven't been sleeping that great. I don't know what's been on my mind. This recession news is quite. I don't know if it's scary or should I be worried.
I think recession news. I don't know. Like, there's nothing about it we can necessarily control. Really, like we can control obviously stuff like how we're sort of approaching work and how we're behaving and that kind of thing. And then a savings aspect, like having some money in the bank somewhere, that could be obviously helpful just to weather some storms. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I tend to try and not really think too much about it because
you can't really control it, can you?
What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Excuse me, Putin. Can you just piss off?
Stop attacking Ukraine.
Stop fucking with our gas. God's sake, man.
Yeah.
And it's stuff like that, and I guess it makes me think about it, but I don't know. It's just one of those crappy things in the world that happens, and you just got to make sure you're prepared for it. Just like cancer.
Yeah.
You can't really do much about that, but you can if you go to the gym and you don't eat loads of processed food and you maintain your body weight. And, you do all the things to make sure it doesn't happen. But if it does happen, it happens. Like, what can you do?
Yeah.
So, all right. But we did have a cool thing actually yesterday. Yesterday there's a park run thing. That's near me, and it's run by it's sponsored by Vitale, but it's free. You rock up 5K. It's very well organised, lots of volunteers and things watching out for you, making sure you're all right, and it's really, really fun. It's funny when you walk around like a closed neighbourhood, people are just staring at you when you're like walking with a GoPro and the microphone. It's like, what are those people doing? And anyway, sorry, I got distracted by the man in the car. So yeah, we did the park run, which was good fun. I think we talked about doing some sort of 5K run at some point.
Yeah, it came sooner than I thought.
What came sooner than thought?
Well, running together.
Oh, it came sooner than you thought. Well, you think I was just going to delay it until I was good enough to beat you?
Yeah, I don't know. Do you want to talk about the positions and the score and the times?
I have absolute qualms. Like, you're fitter than me, Neil. Like, it would be like you turning up to the gym and thinking you're going to lift more than me. Even in my current state, I'd still beat you.
True.
So, yeah, Neil did a sub 20 minutes.
Yeah, 19 minutes, 20 seconds.
Nice. I've been suffering a bit of a cold, like a funny head cold thing. So I wasn't sure how my performance was going to go, but got just over 25 minutes, which felt okay. Like if I could do 25 minutes for the next, I don't know, decade, at least decade, maybe 20, 25 years, I'd be happy with that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think so.
Excellent. Okay, so that's what we did. Really enjoyed it. It was fun. Anyway, in today's podcast, we are talking about... hold this for me, please. Thank you very much, Neil. I appreciate it. You don't need to breathe into the microphone either. Thanks. I can just hear... Because you think Neil was really fit, but all I could hear in my headphones and my ears going... Anyway, in today's podcast, we're talking about first year as a dad and some thoughts and reflections. I thought it'd be quite good. I mean, Neil's deep into this.
Yeah, I forgot what the first year was like.
If you've listened to the other episodes of the podcast, Neil's definitely blanked out most of his life for the past 7 years. So we'll see what he thinks, or maybe if he has some random questions for me about the first year as a dad. But no, I became a dad almost a year to the day, hence why we had our good old 1 year party. But equally, I think it also starts just before you have a kid. I know it's a very abrupt thing that happens, right? The kid just comes into your life and you've got to deal with it. But at the same time, you've got 9 months of kind of mental preparation, don't you?
Yeah.
Because your wife just starts getting rounder and larger and complains a bit more, understandably, because it's hot outside and you've just gained about 20 kilos worth of body weight. So basically, yeah, I think that started off for me was that preparation aspect of becoming a dad, where it just starts to become real. You're like, oh, I am pregnant. Because you go to the 12-week scan, right? And then the whole dad thing, you're like, oh, yeah, there is a baby in there.
This is a bit sketchy, Gordon.
Okay, well, but you could easily walk single file if you want.
For those that are watching on YouTube, we're walking down a ridiculously narrow road.
Oh, it's
with
fine.
cars going past us.
Yeah. Oh, there's alarms going off. Oh, my word.
He's looking at us.
Oh, was it? Oh, excellent. Maybe they got some questions. So yeah, the first year as a dad, that was kind of interesting. The 12-week scan, then you get the 20-week scan, and then you inevitably get like the 3D scan. You do all that kind of stuff. So I guess I was kind of prepared a little bit for it. But the first instance, I think we've gone into these first podcasty discussions about becoming a dad and how abrupt it is and things. But I'm trying to think of some highlights overall of the first year as a dad. Can you think of any of the first thing that you did?
First highlight for me, probably just day one, like
Really?
seeing them.
Oh wow!
Coming out for the first time and like four limbs, 2 arms, 2 legs, 5 toes, 10 toes, 10 fingers.
Yeah.
Oh, that kind of thing. Like, I don't know. As a new dad, I was worried. Like, am I gonna? I mean, the biggest worry for me, well, not biggest, but one of the worries is, are they going to be disabled, or like, are they going to be okay when they come out, and all that kind of stuff? Because I don't know, having a child is a massive upheaval, but having a child that's got some kind of disability, or that's just next level. So I kind of worried about that a bit.
Yeah, that was something I thought about a bit. You know, as obviously Olivia was developing, there are kind of worries. But then again, it's that thing that, as you talked about earlier, I guess, where you're like, what part of this can I control? You know, basically none of it. Like if unfortunately Olivia is born with some sort of disability, then it's just something you've got to just get on with.
Yeah.
And sure, it will make things more challenging. It'll make things a bit more difficult. But at the same time, you know, it's like, it's your daughter. It's your beautiful daughter. So
this is so mad.
Yeah, it's a pretty rogue little walk down. He looks about 12 years old driving that massive car. What's
Did he?
going on? Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, first highlight for me was, I guess, just the very abrupt sort of first 2 weeks of having a baby. You're just like, oh wow, okay, now we've actually got this kid and this responsibility, and all of the things that you want to do now are just second to this child.
Yeah.
You know, where Neil thinks we're going to die walking down the street.
There's no pavements, Gordon. Where's the pavements?
We're in the Surrey. Okay, we're enjoying the sun, and then some man trying to saw down a tree or whatever over there. So, but yeah, one of the first highlights was that idea of just that mental shift, really. Like, you have to move away from, I can just get up and go for a coffee if I want to.
Yeah.
Whereas now you're like, no, you can't do that. And you've got to carry her, like, everywhere. Or you've got to make sure she's locked down. Because as soon as they start rolling or start moving, you're screwed. Like,
absolutely.
Because you didn't realise that things were dangerous until you've had a child. You know, the edge of the sofa. They'll know that they can't roll off the edge of the sofa. No, they can't do that, Neil, can they?
Yeah.
They know that they can, it's a step. How easy is it to step down and not fall over? Well, when you have a kid, that happens. What other kind of things have you thought about or were stuff when you first became a dad, or your first year as a dad?
I mean, I was in other podcasts touched on this, but I was really lucky to have most of the time at home, so I never had to juggle like a job. I was on the bench, and you can find out whatever episode that was being made redundant. But yeah, so like I felt like I was a very lucky dad because Rebecca was on maternity leave. I had time off from work, still getting paid, not much stress. Yeah, like, I mean, as a whole, that was a highlight. As a whole, we Gordon's sorting audio. Yeah, as a whole, we had some really nice family time, close time, in the first year.
That's an interesting thing that I experienced, was the shift from, like being like working and having a child.
Yeah, that's tough.
And it's kind of it's weird in the sense that you don't want to leave because your wife is obviously like doing her thing and struggling to some extent. So it's just a bit like, well, how much time do I sort of prioritize work? How much do I actually put into it? Do I stop? Do I like take more time off? Do I not? And I had that huge dilemma of like self-employed life at the time, where you're like, do I take 2 weeks off?
Yeah.
Well, if I take 2 weeks off, I don't get paid.
Yeah, it's hard.
If I don't get paid, then I can't feed anybody. But then that's a bit stupid, because I just talked about earlier where Neil was talking about recession. Like, why wouldn't you have some money in the bank? Like,
Yeah.
ready there where you can just
You
tap.
knew you were having a kid.
Yeah, you can tap on it anytime you want. You can speak to your clients. You can plan ahead of it. But there's still that little thing in the back of your head when you're self-employed. You're like, oh my God, what do I do? Do I take the time off? Do I not take the time off? Am I going to regret it? Well, maybe I won't regret it. Maybe it'll be fine. So I experienced that, and that was kind of really difficult because I'm like, do I go to work? Should I go to work? But then you were fine because like you just had the redundancy thing to have to deal with.
Yeah, I mean, that was towards the end of the 9 months. But when we had the twins, the first year of that was chaos. I took 2 weeks off. I had to use some of my holidays because, the paternity thing at the company I was working for was shocking. It was statutory, which is like 130 quid a week. So I took some holidays for 2 weeks. And that's just not enough with twins, or not enough for any baby, but twins especially. And like I had to go back to work and just like kind of man up, and using that derogatory term, but
It's pretty derogatory these days. Yeah.
yeah, but just like, I don't know, I just felt like I had to perform at work, so I didn't get made redundant or get fired or that kind of thing, but I also had to perform at home. So yeah, the first year when the boys came and I was juggling work, which is a pretty stressful job, traveling to Glasgow and stuff, yeah, it was hard.
Yeah, that's absolutely savage. And you really are just trying to like toss up those two ideas of I've got to go to work and provide, because there's just no fundamental support for a working dad, really, to be perfectly honest. 2 weeks redundancy. But the 2 weeks paternity leave, but the mad thing was you had 2 kids, but you only got 2 weeks.
Yeah, I know.
Why didn't you get 4 weeks for that?
And like they were in hospital for a week of that. So
So the paternity leave starts from when they're born,
yeah.
not when they come out of hospital.
No.
Hold on a minute. How does that work?
Yeah, it's mad. I mean, depending on your employer, I think you could probably get it extended or something. But yeah, I mean, our boys were in hospital for 7 days after they were born. They were really premature. And yeah, I only had 7 days at home with them before I had to go back to work.
Wow.
And that was pre-COVID, so there's no kind of home working or anything like that.
That's insane. That's bonkers. That's so wrong.
I know.
That is so wrong. Well, yeah, so that kind of thing, like that tussle between now moving from someone who just kind of basically buys what he wants when he wants, does what he wants when he wants, to then suddenly now, actually, my money, the thing I earn, the thing I do, means something.
Yeah.
They mean something more than just, I'm going to go on holiday, or I'm going to save up to buy a house, or a nice kettle. Shit me. This man just came past me on a bicycle. So yeah, that was definitely a thing, and that sort of mental shift, where you move away from being the priority. How do you feel the first year was, going from full attention from your wife, like you are the number one, to suddenly now you're
Pretty much zero.
Pretty much, yeah. You're like,
yeah, if you've got a wife that breastfeeds, then there's not much. Yeah, it's hard. It's very hard, and you feel like a bit of a lost cause because, yeah, if they do choose breastfeeding, which is a fantastic thing to do, then yeah, it's kind of on you to just do what you can round about them feeding. And if you've got a relatively clingy baby, which I love her to bits, but she was very clingy and very kind of attached to Rebecca. So yeah, like, I don't know, you just feel a bit lost and you kind of forget the date nights for a wee while. And I think that's okay. Like, I don't leave it too long. But if you're in the first year and there's dads listening to this, yeah, just run with it and just keep going.
Yeah, it's selfishly, it's kind of hard though, isn't it? Because you fell in love with your wife.
Yeah.
The kid is an enhancer. It's not the thing that you fell in love over, was it? So I feel like, yeah, the first year was kind of interesting from a relationship perspective, or it has been, because I think we're still trying to work it out. We're trying to work out, well, how do we balance, caring for a daughter? How do we balance not being too needy with, say, the grandparents and saying, could you just look after a kid all the time so that we can go out and party and enjoy each other's time?
Yeah, but like, it's a good point. So when they're first born, like the first 3 to 6 months, it's quite hard to get a babysitter because they're pretty fragile. They rely on the breast or breast milk. Sometimes they can't take a bottle. So yeah, I mean, trying to get a babysitter for the first 3 to 6 months can be quite challenging.
Yeah, and the trust factor as well. Like you're trying to work out, well, I know I'm responsible for my child, but not everyone's going to be responsible like I am necessarily,
yeah.
Or understand even like some of the little nuances that your child has. But I also think that's a little bit of a fallacy. Like, kids are pretty robust. You know, I could look after Isla. I might not fulfill all of her needs all of the time, but she's not going to get hurt. Like she's going to be perfectly fine. So then it's basically stuff like that where it's trying to understand like where you both fit in the relationship, like how do you maintain it. You know, you've got my body hasn't changed at all during the pregnancy whatsoever.
A few pounds.
Yeah, maybe I've gained a few kilos. Yeah, but Laura's has. You know, Laura's body's changed a huge amount, and you know, there's something comes along with that, right? It's where how does she readjust to it? How does she feel about it? So then, you know, from an affection perspective, it can be different. So yeah, I find the first year sort of us still trying to work out sort of relationship aspects of things, and then you're also trying to work out like as a team how are you raising this thing?
Yeah, your values and the rules of the house and
yeah. Even then, how you balance the idea of being affectionate, obviously like looking after the child, but then sometimes are you trying not to ingrain certain issues? You know, where there's certain dependencies that can potentially creep up, which you don't want to get into. So, if you don't really talk about that beforehand, do you?
Yeah, no, like I think the biggest thing is talking, communicating. Like if you've got certain things that you want to do and believe in really strongly, then I don't know, instead of enforcing them, just chat about it. I know it's hard to.
But then I find that what I'm saying is, I guess, is that you'd find it difficult to actually talk about those things because you don't know what they are.
Yeah, true.
It's not like, hey, you know, we've only been dating for a year and a half, and we might have a kid sometime. Right? But what are your thoughts on dummies?
Yeah.
You know, because that's a contentious issue. Like, do you give your dummy for the whole time, whenever they want it, how they want it, whatever, doesn't matter, or do you only give it to them for 6 months? You know, but then if they're not sleeping very well, a dummy's pretty helpful.
Yeah, I agree, and even things like. Okay, we're crossing.
I love how you're giving like a commentary of how we're going about this walk.
I just don't want to get killed on a podcast.
Well, we've got the footage of it. It's gonna be great. Imagine the views.
Yeah,
man dies.
recording a podcast.
Recording a podcast in Surrey.
I've lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, and like you want to be aware that your wife or your partner was brought up differently to you, and. Yeah. They've all got different things they believe in, or they've read certain articles online that they believe in. And yeah, I mean, I kind of, and whether this is right or wrong, the approach I took is like, I don't know, if the mum's feeling really strongly about it, and she's got a compelling case, but again, if it makes her life easier, then I'll support it. Like, I'll go with it, unless I feel really strongly about it. Oh.
Yeah, we're causing traffic jams now with our GoPro.
We'll try and go through that bit there.
There? No, I'm not going through the bloody bush. Are you mad?
Are you mad?
No, it's absolutely fine, Neil. Don't know what you worry about.
So yeah, like I just kind of supported Rebecca in as much as I could, and if she had an idea, like co-sleeping, for example, she did lots of research on it. It's a big thing in a lot of the kind of Norwegian countries. And yeah, I might not have 100% agreed with it, but it's going to make her life a hell of a lot easier than, especially with twins.
There's also shit you just can't argue with.
Yeah,
you're the dad.
Yeah,
the amount that you're required is you're required from a physical, perhaps, and sometimes an emotional perspective. But realistically, if you weren't there, they'd be fine.
Perhaps,
but it's true. They would be.
Yeah.
What's wrong? There's a
car come behind me.
Oh, Neil can see the cars coming. I have taken him down a very treacherous road, and there's nettles on your right hand side. So just be aware of your shorts. But yeah, no, I think I definitely agree. Like the whole kind of balancing some sort of understanding of who you are as parents, what you're trying to offer people. Do you find it really funny, like people driving past looking at us?
Yeah, slowing down.
Yeah, they slow down. We should have got some T-shirts and a banner just saying we're recording a podcast. Can you please stop staring?
Is it bad that the preview's going off the camera?
No, it's still recording. You're absolutely fine.
Okay.
Hopefully. Oh, no, it has gone off. Hold on, stop. No, it's still recording.
Oh, weird.
Yeah. Oh, well. All right, we carry on, Neil. We carry on. So the relationship thing, that was definitely something that changed. There was, I guess, something else. I think people talk to you differently when you're a dad.
Yeah, I feel especially in like a career sense and a business sense, you almost get more respect.
You get a bit more elbow room.
Yeah.
You know, it's like if someone says, "Hey, can you be here at this time?" And obviously, I'll try and be there at that time. You'll be fine. There's nothing wrong with these cars. They'll slow down. Like if they say, "Oh, can you be here at this time?" And if you messaged them and said, "Oh, my kids decided to chop off his finger in a doorway," you're going to get a bit of leeway, aren't you?
Yeah, yeah.
Like your employer's not going to be like, "You need to turn up at work today. You need to come in." Whereas, you know, if you turn around and went, "Oh, I've got a bit of a cold. You know, I'm feeling a bit tired," then you don't get that leeway. And your boss also has kids as well, didn't he?
Yeah.
He was very lenient in terms of you being like, "Hey, can I work from home today?"
Yeah. And I think that does help, having a boss that's gone through the same thing. Because if you've got a boss that's maybe single, no kids, middle-aged, they've got no clue. Like, they've got no idea how a kid disrupts your life and what support you need outside of work and all that kind of stuff. And I mean,
It's totally unobvious, isn't it?
yeah.
You don't when you don't have a kid, you kind of get it, but you don't.
Yeah, yeah.
You totally don't. So I found it, you know, when you talk to other people as well, and it's a very easy thing to bond with people over.
Yeah.
I find it's like you're at a party.
Small chat.
Yeah, you'd be at a party, they'd be like, "Oh, you know, where you're from, like, blah, blah, blah. Oh, my wife. Oh, you've got a wife. Oh, that's lovely. Yeah, you're married. Oh, we got a little girl. Oh, little girl, that's amazing. Yeah, what they like, you know." It's such an easy conversation. Whereas, you know, when you're single and unencumbered, they're like, "So where are you from?" "Oh, you know, I'm from Aberdeen."
The weather's nice outside.
"Yeah, weather's nice, yeah." "Oh, what'd you get up to the weekend?" "Oh, well, you know, just on my own."
Had a lie-in.
On my own, yeah, lying. I'm living my best life, but I don't know it. I'm living my best life, but I don't know it.
Yeah.
Yeah, was there anything else in your first year that you can think of?
The whole kind of, I don't know, now you've got like a couple-month-old baby to look after. When do you pull the trigger and take them to hospital if they're ill?
Oh God, that's
like,
yeah, because
you're
know,
not trained.
You know when you're broken.
Yeah,
you
but
know.
you might have a baby that's got really high temperature or is a bit fatigued and not eating properly and hasn't eaten in a few days or drank anything in a few days, and yeah, it's like the whole kind of worrying thing starts. And
That's definitely something you didn't think about in your first, like before having a kid. I like how you just scratched your ear and moved the camera. I don't know how successful this walk-in podcast is being, but who cares? We're only doing this for us. What was I saying? I was saying something about
hospital visits on your first child.
I generally take the idea, because we phoned up NHS 24 before, right? So you phone them up and you're like, "Look, there's this thing going on. What do we do?" And they list off a whole bunch of questions, right? A whole bunch of questions. And then at the end of it, if you've answered like basically no to all of them, they just go, "Does she seem okay in herself?"
Yeah.
And you're like, "Yeah." So now, basically, I think over that year, I've gone from, "Shit, yeah, we need to phone NHS 24, like, figure this out, what's going on," to, "Does she seem okay?"
Yeah.
She's not, like, staggering around or sleeping really long or, you know, passed out or blood coming out anywhere or, you know, you're just like, "Yeah, she'll be all right." Because we did have that accident in America where, you know, I think I've talked about it before, but basically, David was playing with her, he slipped, tripped, he had her on her front, and then she went forward, he went forward, and it was all a bit of it was not great, but, you know, it was what it was. But he, anyway, we were all like in the car, like, do we take her to hospital? Do we not take her to hospital? You know, is she concussed? Is she not concussed? Like, what do we do? Do we think, what's the plan? And I just kind of took the thing like, she seems fine.
Yeah.
Like, she slept fine, you know, it's just a bump in her head. So you've had some pretty horrific accidents over the past
yeah, maybe not in the first year. Like the first year it was hospital free actually until Isla turned 1 and she decided to spend her first birthday in the hospital.
Yeah, but, that wasn't great.
I guess like when you have your second or third child, I don't know, you rely less and less on NHS because you realise what babies can withstand and you realise what they can go through.
Yeah.
So yeah, the first year for the boys as well. I mean, I felt like we got a hell of a lot of checks. More checks than normal because it's obviously 2 and they're premature, so they're getting checked, I don't know, weekly or every 2 weeks at least. So that you're kind of rest assured there. And but I don't remember phoning NHS 24 much.
No, this is a private road, Neil, so you'll be safe.
Okay, good.
It's like a dead end at the end, so you won't feel like you're dying.
Good.
But no, that was definitely something, the whole NHS 24 aspect of things.
And we're lucky that we've got healthcare that we can rely on, that if a child is feeling maybe not so well, we get advice.
It is, and you take it for granted, really, don't you? Like you certainly you take it for granted, not advantage. You take it for granted that this is all free, right? We can just phone up someone and say, "Hey, my kid's not well," regardless of whether they feel like they're perfectly fine or not. So that is pretty amazing.
Yeah, and like an example, I always go back to a recent example is Ben had his finger hanging off, and within 24 hours it was back on. He had an operation with 2 surgeons to stitch it up again. That's just mad. Less than 24 hours.
Done. No, you don't have to put your hand in your pocket.
No, exactly.
I have found over the past year the whole cost thing adjustment that you have to go through. Because before you're kind of like, hey, I'll go out for a nice fancy meal and do whatever I like.
Yeah.
But that was before I was spending £90 a month on nappies.
Yeah.
That is like £90 a month on something your kid shits in.
And you throw away
and you throw it away, and I feel bad as well because I'm throwing it away onto a landfill site because it's not like they're recycling baby shit nappies, are they?
Yeah.
And I am not. Did you ever go down the route of the?
We did.
What?
There's some countries in Europe that ban that disposable nappies are banned.
I'm not living there.
So yeah, we had Isla in for I don't know, up to 4 years.
Just keep it still. Okay.
3 years. She did reusable nappies.
God.
And but even a renewable nappies kit for a kid, you're talking hundreds of pounds investment.
Really?
Yeah. But you're saving the planet. There's also that health element. So there's lots of minging gels and bleaches in these nappies that I wasn't exposed to.
I am not interested in scooping my kid's poo out of the nappy and putting it somewhere else.
No, I don't know. There's more to it.
Where did you put it?
So you get liners, tissue paper,
right?
And the poo goes in there.
Whoa.
And you put the poo down the toilet.
So you're throwing something away.
Tissue paper.
Oh, it's tissue paper.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Well. So yeah, it worked out well, but with the boys, we didn't even entertain it.
The boys weren't up for it.
We weren't up for it. Right. Twice the amount of nappies to wash.
Yeah, so that.
And look after. We used disposables for them.
So yeah, so there's that cost adjustment, and then it's just a never ending where every so often you have to update yourself where you've got to buy yourself a new car seat.
Yeah,
because they get bigger,
or
new inserts, or you decide to go and travel somewhere, and you decide to go in. I don't know. You've got to go to get yourself another travel pram. So we've got 2 prams, Neil. Like how, and a travel cot.
Yeah, you get the next to me's, and you get the bigger cots, and then you get the toddler beds.
Yeah, and then you're gonna obviously decorate a nursery, aren't you?
Yeah,
and you get nursery stuff that you don't use.
Upgrade every year because
upgraded every year. Yeah. So that kind of a cost adjustment is kind of interesting, but then at the same time, it's been pretty helpful having obviously grandparents and things because they help with various cost paraphernalias.
Yeah, and when we had the twins, we were in it. We still are actually friends of ours who keep clothes for us. They just give us bags of clothes every so often, and it's amazing. Trying to clothe 2 boys, getting new shoes for them is 60, 70 quid a time.
Yeah, that's a lot.
But when you've got hand-me-downs from friends, it's just priceless, really.
Because they don't care. They're not in the status game thing. Maybe the Spider-Man thing falls into it, but they're not can I have the latest Balenciaga trainers?
Exactly.
So that's pretty helpful. The cost thing, one thing that I did try and plan for, that certainly in the first year, was setting up some sort of savings account for Olivia. So that savings account is basically a junior ISA, it's tax-free, we put in 25 quid a month, and I calculated by the time she's 18, it should amass to about 15 grand or something. Oh, Neil's managed to unplug himself. Oh, put yourself back in there, Neil. Gently does it. I'll keep entertaining the crowd. Are we back in?
Yeah.
Oh, we're back in.
Can you still hear me through it?
I can still hear you, yeah. I think I could. I have no idea. I mean, let's hope it's worked. I mean, if it hasn't worked, who cares? So yeah, the savings thing I was quite hard on because I'm 25 quid a month isn't too much for us, but it means that we fundamentally get. No, we're going this way now because we're going back home. Uh-huh. I've got another first birthday party to go to today.
Lovely.
Henry's. So yeah, we've got to do that. But yeah, the savings thing was kind of a big thing for me in the first year, and I feel like the sooner you start, the earlier you start, the better it is for the for the little one.
Yeah. And I think we did that with Isla. We've done that with the boys.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah, that's been pretty good.
solid preparation.
Would you say your first year as a dad, you enjoyed it? And you don't have to say yes, by the way. Like, 'cause I find this quite an interesting question where a lot of people say to me, because I'm a new dad, they're like, would you recommend it?
Yeah.
And I'm a bit like, I can't say yes or no to that question.
I think if you asked me during it, the answer probably would have been no.
Oh, wow.
But now I look back. I mean, it's 4 years ago since I had that first year, 7 years ago with Isla. And yeah, like I'd say in a whole, I enjoyed it and I look back fondly of it. But during it, just the sleep deprivation and the... Yeah.
Because it gets better, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And that's the funny thing. The first sort of 3 months are the worst.
Yeah.
First 3 months are the worst. The biggest adjustment. The next 3 months get a bit better, but there's still quite a bit of an adjustment. You know, your wife's probably still breastfeeding if she's chosen to. But then once that sort of 6 month period gets on, they start rolling around a bit. They maybe start thinking about crawling. They start becoming a human being. They're less dependent on mum. So you get to be, as a dad, you get much more freedom to sort of play with them and say hello. And,
Yeah.
you know, you get to give them a bottle and all that kind of stuff. So I definitely feel like it does get better. So even if you wouldn't recommend it in the first 3 months, the 6 month mark's better. So you can definitely recommend it over the 3 months.
It's funny because like now I've got 3 kids. They're 4 and 7. I get asked often with new parents, and I can't remember who did. Somebody asked me yesterday, does it get easier? My answer to that is always, I don't think it gets easier. You just get different problems to deal with. Yeah. So Isla, I wouldn't necessarily say she's easier than a 1-year-old because she still wants a lot of attention. She kind of gets shy sometimes, or she has her kind of mood swings and stuff like that. That's quite hard to deal with. You can't just be like, I don't know, 1-year-old, you can just put down for a couple of hours for a nap.
There's more negotiation now. It's like,
Yeah.
Hey, what do you want for breakfast? And she'll be like, I want crumpets with Nutella. And you'll be like, there's no Nutella, but I want Nutella.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, I don't have any. Yeah, but I want it. And you're like, well, when you've got a 1-year-old, you just go, here you go, you eating?
There's no opinion. Yeah.
No, there's no opinion, there's no discussion. He's having a wee nap in there, isn't he? But yeah, no, I think that's fair. And I've often wondered, you know, how do I say that when people ask me, would you recommend being a dad? I'm kind of like, I would, but then it's under my circumstances.
Yeah.
You know, I feel financially I'm okay. Like I can afford to have a kid, all those kind of things. I feel my relationship is solid in terms of our understanding of each other's values and what we think we should do to raise a kid. He's not going 20 miles an hour, is he?
He's going 41.
Maybe, I doubt it. No way.
Yeah.
If you didn't see that, there's just a good old cyclist just decided to ping it past here, and it's a 20 mile an hour road, but he's definitely doing more than 20. Anyway, he's doing 42 miles an hour. This is on camera, mate. With your number plate. And then this person's doing 42, 41 miles an hour on number plate. Anyway, sorry, I've gone off piste here. I'm being a good neighbour citizen. Is that what they call them? Neighbourhood watch. So yeah, I've just always wondered, you know, if you recommended actually becoming a dad, certainly after the first year.
Yeah, as you mentioned, I think you need to have a solid foundation. And I think if you're from like a broken relationship or things aren't going very well financially, then I probably wouldn't recommend it.
It's hard, right?
Yeah.
It's really hard.
But if you've got a solid foundation, you've been married a couple of years or with your partner for a couple of years, you might have your house or you've got a decent amount of savings in the bank, then yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I think so, because it's so rewarding, right? Because even after that, even the year that I've had with Olivia, it's just unbelievable to think that she's 50% me.
Yeah.
And like this morning, me and Olivia and Laura we're just rolling around in bed together.
Yeah.
You know, she's playing, she's giggling, she's laughing, I'm laughing, we're playing, she's climbing on Laura. Like that's like
priceless moments.
Oh, that's I can't. It's hard to describe how good it is.
Life would be so boring. Like I can't imagine in my 30s.
I don't know, Neil. I mean, I'd have a shit ton more cash. I'd have way more sleep, more time.
I don't know. I don't know. Looking back, I think, yeah, I don't know. I enjoy giving my time to my kids.
But I think I don't think I would have been unhappy not having had children. But I do align myself with what you're saying in terms of I don't know what else would have fulfilled me after all of the nice house, the nice car, the nice holidays, you know, the things. Yeah. Because you can't pay for your kid to roll around with you in bed,
yeah,
to laugh and giggle, you know, without any conditions, you know, unconditionally just loving and having and playing and laughing. You can't pay for that. And there's a certain point when if you hadn't had children, I can't pay for those memories and those things.
Yeah.
You just can't. No matter, no 5-star hotel would fulfill that.
No, I agree.
Oh, I think we've hit a nice little ending to the podcast. We're coming to the end of our walk. Hopefully I'm not late and Laura's not going to shout at me for this next first birthday party, because I've tried to keep it on time. But either way, I hope this walking podcast, we'll definitely publish it, I don't care. Episode number 35 of the Developing Dads podcast. If you have any reflections over the first year of being a dad, we'd love to hear them. You can follow us on our Instagram page, Developing Dads, and we've got this on YouTube. We've got it in our 360 cam, so you get to see the whole shebang, the whole show.
Yeah, big houses,
£1 million houses, in our lovely chat. But either way, any wonderful knowledge you can pass on to anything you've like to tell the audience, Neil? The
No,
2.5 that are listening.
done.
Oh, we're done. Okay, right.
Haven't prepared.
All right. Thanks very much, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll see you next week.
Cheers. Goodbye.
Or maybe not see you. We'll hear you next week.
Yeah.
Or you'll hear us next week. We won't hear you because we don't know who listens to this.
Indeed.
Do I keep going?
We're home now.
Oh, we're home now. Okay. Okay. Bye-bye.